Last Friday, DJI was banned from the United States. What does that really mean? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to Legal Drone, where we talk about drones and other tech stuff. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Before we begin, as always, this is not legal advice. At this moment, you probably have seen a lot of YouTube videos about this so-called DJI ban, and I'm not gonna try to repeat what other people have saying, but I'm going to divide this video into three major topics. First, I'm going to talk about what does it mean to DJI and why they ended up in that entity list. Second, I'm going to discuss what does it mean for the United States consumer in terms of product availability and sales. And finally, I have received a few questions about this, and it has to do with the warranty of DJI products in the United States. So let's move on to the video. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is how DJI ended up in that list. So a few months back, the federal government decided not to buy products from DJI. This is the same that happened to Huawei a few years back, and they ended up in the entity list. So what is this entity list? The entity list is basically a list of organizations, businesses, manufacturers that are based in a country, and because of the relations that the United States have with that particular country, they have decided to not give them availability to certain products or certain technology. So this list have been since 1997 when it was created, and entities have been going in and out of that list depending on how they have responded to their inclusion in that list. And this list is directed to United States manufacturers and corporations, and they are telling them, look, if you are going to do business or you're gonna sell them something to any of these entities on this list, it will require a government license to do that. And I am no expert in international trade law, and I consulted with a good friend of mine that he does that for a living, and he explained me that right now all we can do is to speculate on the impact that the inclusion of DJI in this list will mean. And there is a lot of speculation because DJI should have been preparing for this months ago, because all the signs that this was gonna happen were there. It happened the same as it happens to Huawei, where the federal government stopped buying equipment from them, and then they were included into the list. And what's gonna happen next, we really don't know, because we're gonna have a new president on January, and we don't know what his foreign policy with China is going to be. And a lot of these industries that are on that list are for mainly political reasons, and we don't know if foreign policy with China changes, then most of these entities are going to be taken out of that list, including DJI. What's going to be the impact on DJI production? Well, we don't know, because if we don't have a bill of material, the bill of material basically is a list of all the materials that are used to manufacture a product. So DJI might be outsourcing to United States the manufacture of 4 screws for their DJI, let's say Mavic Air 2, and the rest of the parts are from other places. So there won't be much of a problem. Now, if DJI is making their drones with 99% of American parts, then that is going to be a big disruption of their production line, if they haven't been able already to look for other sources for those materials. So in the immediate future, we don't know what's going to happen with the production line of DJI, because we don't know the amount of parts, of American parts, that DJI uses to build their drones or to manufacture their drones. Now, in the long term, that's gonna be another issue for DJI because this ban includes other stuff like software and microchips. So if DJI is relying on American research for their new drones, that technology transfer is going to be complicated for DJI. So Huawei, they decided to move their research center to Canada. They had a research center in Santa Clara County in California, and they decided to move to Canada because it was going to be hard for them to have that business relation with American workers. And Huawei is having trouble with microchips and with screens, and as you know, cell phones, you need a microchip and you need a screen. So if this is going to happen to DJI, we need to see, which parts they are using from American manufacturers and if they are able to source them from other places. And the last thing about this topic is going to be software, and that is going to be more complicated because this is a long-term trouble for DJI because for flying your drone you use an application on your cell phone, and if the operating system in your cell phone gets updated, you will probably need an update on the DJI app. And for DJI to be able to update their app, they will probably need a technology transfer from the company that makes the operating system in the cell phone to DJI. And if that is American-based technology, then it's gonna be complicated for DJI to give you further updates. In regards of the extent of the export ban to DJI, all we can do is speculate, and we have to see if they are taken out of the list in the near future. Because the problem with DJI is that they fought it hard and they kind of succeeded, because the main issue for DJI was data. How they were using their data and if they were protecting American citizens' data from the Chinese government. And they succeeded that, because the reason that they're included in that list is not data, is other thing. The reported reason, and I'm gonna put a link to the report that states this, is that allegedly the Chinese government is using DJI products to do surveillance in concentration camps of religious minority groups, and that is a violation of human rights, and that is the reason that the United States decided to put DJI on that list. Whether those foundations are true or not, well, the Department of Commerce passed judgment about that and they decided to do so. So if in the near future the current Chinese foreign policy changes, then we need to see if the next president is gonna be open to overlook those things from the Chinese government DJI relations. Moving on to number 2, there are a lot of speculation that this is going to be the end of DJI in the United States. So last Friday, DJI issued a statement that says that they are able to sell products in the United States, and that it's true. They are able to sell their products. They are not going to be going anywhere in the near time. They do have inventory with them, and they're gonna sell it. Okay, that's their business, and they are not banned from doing business in the United States. So they can be selling products to retailers in the United States, and you're going to be able to go to a store and buy from them. And also you're gonna be able to go online and buy a drone from DJI. This is not a selling ban or a complete ban of DJI. Now, their selling status didn't change, but you might see inventory problems depending on the reasons that I talked during the first part of the video. So if you are planning on buying a DJI drone, you have to be doing it sooner rather than later, because if DJI encounters production problems, then you might be having a problem finding a drone for you. And number 3, and I got this question a lot in my social media, people asking about how about my warranty. I bought the DJI refresh service, and what does this mean with my warranty or my DJI refresh service? These services are mainly contracts between you and the manufacturer. So you already have that contract, and DJI has the obligation to fulfill their contract. They do have a business presence in the United States, so they are subject to the United States contract law, and that is basically it. DJI have to fulfill their warranties, and they have to comply with their own terms and conditions in those contracts. Now, the main problem that you're gonna have, and this is all speculation, if a year from now you're having a problem, let's say with your gimbal, and DJI used to buy parts for their gimbal in the United States and they never found another source for that, then you might have a problem because of parts availability. Now, if DJI doesn't have the part for your replacement or for your repair, then we have to go to the terms of the contract, because if the part cannot be replaced and cannot be repaired, then DJI will ultimately need to give you a new drone, maybe, or take that part from another drone. So we need to see the terms and conditions of those contracts, and you will probably won't have any problem with DJI, because there are provisions that will protect you from things like inventory issues on part, because these warranty contracts are made, foreseeing that, well, for replacement parts I'm gonna have inventory for at least, let's say, a year and a half, or for repairs I'm gonna have the personnel able to repair that, for a year and a half or 2 years. So these things are things that are well thought before they put it on a contract, because these commercial contracts are highly regulated in the United States. So when doing these type of extended warranty programs, you are probably protected from things like inventory issues or repair availability issues or things like that. And like I said at the beginning of the video, all we can do is speculate. We don't have all the facts to make a accurate opinion or to give you an accurate statement, but what I did is that I give you a educated guess of what can happen in the near future with DJI. So thanks again for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you want to see more drone law videos, you can click here. If you want to see good drone footage, you can click here. See you next time.